A major corruption scandal hitting the soccer world. Some of the most powerful FIFA officials facing U.S. federal charges related to illegal activity, including bribery going back decades. Here with more is Mike Bako. He is sports editor at the Daily National. Great to have you.
Thank you.
All right, explain what exactly is going on and what's different this time, because we hear a lot of bribery stuff with these guys.
We hear a lot of bribery, but what we're hearing now is 21 years in the making, $150 million involved in terms of payoffs and bribes associated with different tournaments over multiple decades. So that's why the FBI really finally got involved, and this is why this is such big news, and the indictment's coming down.
And this is a U.S. probe. I mean, this is here.
This is. It's happening here because a lot of the activity was going on in the Western Hemisphere, but involving U.S. banks. So obviously, where there's a little bit of rumors of things going on, when U.S. banks are involved, the FBI is involved, and obviously they saw enough mountain of evidence and all of this money involved.
And money it is. I mean, this is the biggest sport in the world.
Absolutely.
So there is so much sponsorship associated with the sport. What's going to happen there? Are they even, you don't even think they're going to blink?
There's not even going to be a blip on the radar. Some brands may pay a little bit of lip service in terms of we're going to see how everything pans out. But in terms of looking at major sponsors and major audiences over the course of the next 3 years leading up to the next World Cup, this is going to be status quo for a lot of these brands. They're going to see how things shake out, but there's so much involved. $150 million in these bribes and payoffs is a pittance compared to all the sponsorship money that's going to go into the next World Cup and into soccer in general for the next few years.
Is this cultural with the sport? Is this something that's just kind of been going on?
It's been going on for generations, and now it's just coming to the forefront. I think you look back at the last couple of selections of World Cup cities, Qatar, Russia, not traditional places where you would see the World Cup. So this sparked a little bit more interest in terms of journalists, even journalists that are partial to covering up everything that's going on in FIFA and in soccer. So it's that light bulb went off, and that light bulb went off within some law enforcement organizations as well.
Now, you don't think for the most part this is going to phase the sponsors. What about fans?
I think fans probably have their finger on this a lot more than sponsors and even journalists to a certain degree, because they see what go on in their local clubs, in their local organizations. And it's a bottom-up type of situation where the corruption happens at lower levels, lower club leagues, lower tournaments, and it's even been proven out in some of these allegations that came down. I think that fans just know that this is part of doing business and part of being a fan.
Are the U.S. fans different from the fans around the world in terms of what you anticipate their reaction is going to be?
I think U.S. fans will take a step back and say, you know, what's going on here? Almost as if the NFL fans were saying, whoa, concussions are going on. I think fans around the world are probably saying, oh, U.S. fans, once again, slow to the uptake when it comes to soccer. But I think U.S. fans will investigate this probably a little bit more than international fans. But when it comes down to it, if the U.S. has a good showing 2018 leading up to it, they're going to be right there in front of their TVs again.
Interesting, because the U.S. has, traditionally had a tough time gaining traction in the sport. We focus so much more on other sports, our own football, for example. So does this hurt that push that they've been trying to make in the U.S.?
It hurts a push just a little bit, but I think now the U.S. fan loves its U.S. team, but they also love their Manchester United and their Barcelonas and their Lionel Messis, and they're really looking at this as an international game, not just, hey, I'm going to root for the U.S. team or my local MLS team. They're now international fans as much as they are U.S. team fans.
So how does this play out? What happens now?
I think the law enforcement obviously has a mountain of evidence coming down. I think the only real repercussions of this is if it's able to rise into the presidential level. President Blatter, who heads FIFA, who has come under a lot of scrutiny, if some of these charges rise up and encompass him, I think that's where you may see some more systemic changes. But right now, these are some lower level officials, and they're going back, even though 2 decades, nothing is really being investigated on what went on with the selection process in 2018 or 22. So unless we get to that point, I think that's where the emphasis will be.
All right, we will keep watching.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our thanks to Mike Bako. He is sports editor at the Daily National. I'm Bobby Rebell. This is Reuters.